Hey guys, it's Lee. I thought I would make a video today about something that is very important to us organic gardeners, especially if you rely a lot on compost, and double especially if you have your own compost making program like I do. Now, a couple weeks ago, you might have saw my short video about me collecting some horse manure from a local rancher who has horses. And I was very grateful to get that probably 15 yards of, horse manure mixed with hay and bedding material. And I've got it in a pile composting. It's nice and hot right now. The pile's well over 100 degrees. So I'm excited about that. But the thought did occur to me that it might be contaminated with Grazon. Now, I called the woman who owns the ranch, and she assured me that she doesn't spray anything on her pastures, but she buys hay. And now the haymaker, they very well may be using Grazon or any number of other broadleaf weed control agents on the pasture. Now, the problem with these agents, and by the way, Grazon is just a brand name, by the way. There's a dozen different chemicals that do this. They spray it on the pastures that cows and horses and sheep are grazing from, and the purpose is to suppress broadleaf weeds that the animals aren't going to eat. And so the animals eat the grass, and that herbicide passes through their system into their dung, and you put it in a compost pile and compost it. Well, that chemical, that herbicide, is still in your compost. And some studies suggest that it stays in there forever. And some studies, which I lean more towards, say that herbicide product is active in the compost for up to 2 years. So what I'm doing here today, and I want to show you how to do it because this is important. I'm going to create a test to test and see if that compost has herbicide in it. So what I've done is I've bought 2 tomato plants, both the same species. These are Tasty Wee, W-E-E, T-A-S-T-I-W-E-E, Tasty Wee. And it's a little grape type tomato. And what I did is I tried to find 2 plants that were almost identical, and I think I did a pretty good job. So we're going to eliminate the blooms because we don't want any flowers. We don't want flowers. We don't want any flowers messing up the results or skewing the results. So what I've done is I have some store-bought potting soil, which is fodder for a whole nother show. We all know what a ripoff that's become these days. So, but this is a really good one. I checked the bag kind of before I bought it. I felt it, and it's not just a bunch of sawdust like a lot of them have turned out to be lately. This is a really good mix. This is really good soil. So what I've done is I have 2 pots here, and I have 3, but I only need 2. I have 2 pots, and this whole card, that's going to be our control subject. And this card, which I cut a notch in, that's going to be our test subject. This pot, the test subject, has 50% bagged garden soil and 50% of the horse manure that I collected. And now this pot has 50% garden soil and 50% of my well composted, completed chicken manure compost. So I'm going to we'll put 1 plant in each pot, and we're going to let this run for about, I don't know, a week, and we'll check it again, see if there's any results. But I'm sure that within 2 weeks, if there is herbicide contamination in that horse manure compost, we will know. And the way you know is the leaves. Everybody knows what a nice healthy tomato leaf looks like. The leaves will become curled and twisted and almost fold up on themselves. I'll see if I can find a picture of some herbicide damaged leaves and put them up here on the corner of the video right now. We're going to remove any foliage that doesn't look good. We're just going to pinch that off. Yeah, these are some older leaves, and we're probably going to take off some of those little juvenile sprouts. But what we're doing right now is removing any foliage that doesn't look nice. Okay, so that's what we've done. So this is going to be our test, and this is our control. And I will see you back in a week, maybe, possibly 2 weeks, to see if my compost is contaminated. Now, it's important to point out also that it would be, quote unquote, safe to use that herbicide tainted compost on corn, because corn is a monoclotodon, meaning it has one growing stem. So it would not be affected by an herbicide that is designed to affect broadleaf weeds, diclotodons. So if you wanted to, and you had that compost, and you knew it was affected, contaminated with herbicide, you could use it on corn. You could use that compost on corn, but you wouldn't be able to say it was grown organically at that point. Now that's totally up to you. I don't judge either way. I try to do everything organically. Sometimes I have to cut a corner, but I probably would not use graze-on contaminated compost on anything that I'm going to eat or that I'm going to feed other people. But I believe you could. I believe it would be safe to do so. And the FDA, of course, has strict guidelines. Don't listen to what I say. Listen to what they say, whether or not it's dangerous. But I personally probably wouldn't. But if it is contaminated, what I'll probably do is just find a spot out in my back pasture and just kind of spread it out. Let it do what it was intended for, suppress some weeds. Or like you saw, maybe you saw my video where I found an old septic tank in my new garden plot. I could probably dump it in there and fill it up. That would start filling it up. That would be a good thing to do with it. Okay, so I've rambled on enough, and I hope you guys had a great weekend. I hope you have a great week, and happy gardening, everyone.